pave the way.
But you've given us that wonderful thought of you wrote to me yesterday. You know how you always end your broadcast, take care of yourself and each other? Yeah, it's a wonderful thought, all right. Certainly the right and decent way to live. But you see, I didn't make it up. You did.
Long before his name was known across national airwaves, he was a newsman, politician, and an attorney. Former Cincinnati mayor, talk show host, and WLWT anchor Jerry Springer sadly has died. So many of you waking up to that news or getting it while you were at work today. Thanks for joining us at 4 o'clock. I'm Cherie Palello.
And I'm Ashley Kirkland. A family spokesperson for Springer confirmed his death to us this morning. He died at his home in Chicago at the age of 79.
And you know, despite the notoriety that followed the Jerry Springer show, Cincinnati knew a different man than the rest of the world, the rest of the country. One of the men who knows his career best is our very own John London here in the studio today. And as soon as he walked in, I said, how are you doing today? Because I know he was more than just a coworker.
He was a friend, and as someone who covered him, you know, when he was a young politician, and then who, of course, worked with him here at Channel 5 when we were down at 9th and Elm, I can tell you there are two threads about him that were consistent throughout all those years. He was serious about the work he did and never took himself too seriously. Authentic, easy humor was a part of his persona. One of the first things friends and colleagues are saying about Springer today is how genuinely charming he was in any setting, someone who was like a human magnet when he entered a room. Close friend Gene Galvin remarked this afternoon that humor in a friendly manner came by way of instinct with Springer. He just had that in him, Galvin describing it as elite level connectability, part of what made him successful in politics when he was mayor and broadcasting when he anchored the news here, and at an international level as a talk show host. Springer was in town 2 months ago to be part of a roast for former sheriff, judge, and prosecutor Cy Lease, and for Channel 5's 75th birthday, and spoke lovingly at that time about this city. Here's part of what he said after I started the interview by asking how it feels to be older than the station.
No, well, how does it feel to be old? But 75 years of the great history of this station and to be a part of its history. I got to tell you, some of the favorite years of my life have been, you know, when I was here doing the news. Wherever I go, wherever I travel, people identify me as Cincinnati. They'll just, you know, hey, Jerry, you know, I'll be doing a show someplace. Hey, Jerry, Cincinnati, woo, hoo-day, hoo-day. You know, it's in my blood. It really is. I'm not trying to be corny about it. I love this place. I love this station. I owe it everything. You know, there could have been lots of reasons that people turned against me. And Channel 5 said, here you go. You know, the whole package. We accept you. And, you know, to have that blessing in life. So it's great. I love it.
The city manager ordered city flags lowered to half staff today. Whether one embraced his politics or condemned them, Springer's imprint and impact on Cincinnati, undeniable. And of course, I remember a lot of what you just heard him talk about in there.
I was just going to say, is there one moment that you just, when you got the news today, is there one memory that you remember about him and you'll never forget?
Well, I mean, there's, you know, it's sort of unlimited, really, in a way. Jerry was the kind of guy, I mean, every day in the newsroom, when I was working in the newsroom, you'd be drawn to him. And he would always be giving something back to you, usually with a great deal of humor and a lot of wisdom. He was a very smart fellow.
He really was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's the one thing you know, I would always say to people, listen, whether you love his politics or not, no matter what you think of the show, right? When you met him, you realized just how brilliant he truly was. And I always say kind too, because no matter when we called him, no matter what the controversy was, he was always so gracious. And look, you can't say that about everyone who's become successful from Cincinnati and moved on to bigger things. There are a lot of celebrities that will reach out now and they kind of forgot where they came from, and he just never did.
He didn't, and the authenticity was the thing that sticks out about him. He was who he was because he would tell you that screen, you can't fake it. We'll have a bite with him a little bit later with regard to that you have to be who you are, or else people will they'll get it, they'll notice, and they'll reject it. So.
Yeah, among you and Curtis and others here in the newsroom, the stories about Jerry Springer have just been invaluable to hear. Because, of course, as I spoke with George about this, social media wasn't around back then. And so you guys just have those authentic stories from memory. And it's just really been great to hear those.
Yeah, we didn't have this.
The good old days.
Thank God
right?
for in a lot of ways, John. Thanks so much. We'll see you throughout the newscast.